Hello. So, as a white kid that grew up in black foster homes, I always heard this one sentence, and you've probably heard it too, but also, in just society alone, that some people, just some, say that black people are too loud. And I just have one question. Just one. Would you hear them if they were regular volume? Would you?
What does it really mean to grow up caught between two worlds, two cultures, two identities, two versions of yourself? Today, we are diving into some of the most raw, unfiltered stories of people who were raised inside black families. Some biracial, some white, some adopted. And what that experience actually did to them. These aren't feel good diversity commercials. These are real lives, real moments, and real truths that most people are too afraid to talk about. Before we go any further, drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. And if this kind of content speaks to you, hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Because trust me, you do not want to miss where this story.
A black mother and a white father at a time when it was illegal in the country. And it was strangely unique, I guess because it was illegal, So I grew up in a world where I didn't see many people like me who had my background. South Africa's racial dynamics are very complicated and sometimes throw people off, especially like internationally, So one of those was apartheid ends, So apartheid ends when I'm 6 years old. And I always think to myself about how much that changes my entire life. Let's say apartheid went for 10 more years. Then now I'm 16 and I haven't been able to go to the schools that I went to because, only white kids were allowed to go to them. And so that becomes like one of the first dominoes that I didn't have anything to do with that changes my life.
Y'all, the pasty crown has been passed down. My son now knows what it's like to have a second mom who is a black woman. So as a kid, as the only unmelanated one 99% of the time, when I would go to my sister's house, my other mom, who is a black woman for context, she would, so Mama Carnetta's house was like the house to this day. Like, you never know. You go over there and there's just going to be other family members just chilling. Like, everybody's just going over there, right? And as a kid, this happened on like multiple occasions where if the little ones, like the little nieces and nephews or the little cousins or whatever, were acting out and acting crazy, Mama Carnetta would threaten to slap the black off of them. But if I was over there, she would then point to me and be like, that's what happened to Ribbon. I mean, she called me my government name, but like, that's what happened to Ribbon. That's why Ribbon's white, is because I slapped the black off of him. And she would say it with such a serious face. And then she would like look at me like, don't say anything. Don't snitch. And I'm just like trying not to laugh. I'd be like so serious. And I'd be like, yeah, that's exactly why I look like this. That's exactly what happened. And it would scare the crap out of these kids. They'd behave after that. Like, cause they were young enough that they thought that. Like, they would really think like that she had slapped the black off of me and that's why I was white. Just slapped the melanin right off. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened, y'all. I actually once screwed up braiding somebody's hair because of this, because I was trying not to laugh so hard and it distracted me. Because I learned how to braid. I know how to do quite a lot of braids. Not doing any on white people that are not meant for white people hair, by the way. Just an FYI, because I always get people ask that when they find out I can braid. They'll be like, oh, are you putting box braids in black women or in white women's hair? I'm like, no. But there was one time I was literally braiding a cousin's hair and like screwed up one of the braids. I had to restart the whole row because she said this and I was trying not to laugh. I was trying to be so serious. But it happened today to my son. He was hanging out with friends. And we're all there at the park and whatnot. And this littler one was not listening, right? It was his friend's little brother who was not, because my son and his friends are too old to fall for this. But the little brother is not listening at all. And she, my friend, she just, without hesitation, is like, I'm going to slap the black off you. Stop climbing on that. Because like he was going to hurt himself because he was climbing on stuff he wasn't supposed to. And she then goes and like looks at Clark and's like, that's what happened to your brother's friend. That's why he looks like that. That's why he's white. And Clark is so confused. He's just like, what? Like he did not get it at all. But he just went with it. He was just like, okay, Sure, that's totally, whatever. I'm sorry, I can't stop laughing. It's just funny because, like, for me, the Mama Carnetta and stuff are the, like, queens of being able to keep a straight face, because I could never keep a straight face when saying that. And I've had people, like, make jokes about that as an adult too. I've even, like, if I go to a family gathering and stuff, because I come from a mixed race family, so, like, if I go to that side of the family and hang out with them, I am usually the only one that looks like this. And I've had family members also be, like, telling their little kids that that's why I look like this. And it's just so hard to keep a straight face. Like, how are y'all keeping a straight face while saying this stuff? It gets funnier because on the drive home, my youngest apparently heard this conversation and I didn't realize it. And he asked me if that's why he was white. He asked if that's why we looked different than our other family members. Because we've visited, like, my white family several times, right? Like visited them a lot. But not as much because they're farther away. We're here in Texas, military moves you around. So he's seen the black side of his family a lot more. And he was like, is that why we look different? My poor children. My poor children are so confused now.
I don't know what my mama was thinking, but growing up in a black family, when you used to get in trouble and people ask, what's wrong with you? Or, oh, what's wrong with you? And my mama would be like, nothing. She want her motherfucking ass beat down to the motherfucking ground. And I'm like, damn, no I don't. She want me to smack fire from her motherfucking mouth. No, she want me to slap her into the wall and make a picture out her ass. Like, dude, you can't have an attitude in a black family. You better not curl your lips up. None of that.
If you're mixed, I would really love you to chime in because this is something that I've been thinking about for years. I'm 50-50. I'm one black parent, one white parent, Caribbean, Canadian. And I grew up in a small village in England. We were the black family up until, like, I don't know, 8 to 12 years old, somewhere around that. And I remember going to secondary school and I immediately became friends with one of the kids from the oldest year group because he was black. Like, it was just on sight. Me and him were immediately friends. I guess we had some common ground. And so I identified heavily with being black all the way up until I went to visit Turks and Caicos, where I went to a community gathering with one of my cousins, and one of his friends looked at me and was like, I fucking hate white people. I was like, fucking hate white people? Like, who? And dude, he was talking about me. He hated my existence because I was white to him. And so I realized then and there that I'm not white, I'm not black. I am in limbo effectively. So a few years go on and I move in to a house with a couple other mixed guys, a couple other fellow mixed brothers. And I feel like on some subconscious level, we were competing to see who was the blackest or who was the least white. No one wanted to be the whitest one amongst us. So, yeah, I guess now thinking about it, I'm kind of like, fuck, like we were always running towards an identity or running away from an identity, but we were never just being ourselves. Or maybe that was ourselves at that point. Like, is our identity as light skins being in limbo? Please let me know. I mean, right now I don't even think about it. Like, I don't identify with either, to be honest. I identify with being Brian.
I had a pretty unique exposure to racism when I was a kid. My siblings and I were adopted. My sister is white, my parents are white, my brother is black. Our community was white, our schools were white, everyone was white. Growing up, my brother was bullied incessantly by people of all ages, even family members. Since I was 2 years older, I felt like it was my responsibility to defend him. To do that, I developed a spidey sense for identifying racists. The way I saw it, there were 4 kinds of people when it came to racism. There were the openly racist and not afraid to show it people. There were the covertly racist but careful to hide it people. There were the not racist but unwilling to call it out people. And there were the not racist and willing to do something about it people. Of course, that last group was few and far between. As a kid, it was clear to me that 3 of the 4 groups were complicit in harming my brother. An overt racist would say something racist to my brother. The covert racist wouldn't flinch. The not racist but not willing to call it out person would act like they didn't see it, and my brother would get the message that he either deserved whatever was said or he wasn't worth defending. It didn't matter that some of the people weren't racist, because enough of them were. Enough of them were so the group didn't have to change a damn thing. And that's what I keep thinking about with this ruling on the Voting Rights Act. Our nation has made very little progress at making this world safe for people like my brother. We've made very little progress at changing the messages that people like my brother absorb. The way the world expects the worst from him every single second of every day. We still very much have a group that's unwilling to change. I've been thinking about this because it feels like something changed with the last ruling. The slide from covert to overt seems much more obvious. The racist underpinnings of this decision are not plausibly deniable. The fact that Alito cited bad data to support his position, knowing full well he would be fact-checked, is very telling. And let's not pretend the conservative justices didn't know Republican lawmakers in the South were going to take the ball and run on this. Maybe they didn't realize just how quickly the greasy, grimy, greedy lawmakers would shove their racist flags into the soil of every single voting district. Except something tells me the kinds of people who accept bribes from fat cats with matters before the court, the kinds of people who announce their homophobic and Christian nationalist tendencies by literally flying symbolic flags at their home, the kinds of people who only adopted a formal ethics code after years of pressure and made sure it has little enforcement power. Those kinds of people probably knew exactly what would happen with this ruling. And it's quite clear that they don't care that because of this ruling, people like my brother will find themselves in rooms even more populated with people complicit in racism, and the people willing to do something about it will be even fewer and farther between. Yeah. Well, SCOTUS, I hope you're having the day you deserve.
So you grew up as the only black person in your family.
Yeah, for sure.
So how was that experience?
Now, my parents, the one thing my parents did just the best job in the world at was making sure I had that foundation of love, you know, and that was enough to give me the springboard to go figure out who I was.
Yeah. I know you grew up in Philly, but like what kind of school did you go to? Was it a diverse school? Did you at least have some?
All white.
Really?
So my best friend, I'm in second grade, my best friend, third grade. I'm on the bus and he says, do you know what a is?
Oh my gosh.
He was saying,
Not do I know.
Do you know what one is? I said, before I could say no, he said, that's what you are.
it's you.
It's
Yeah.
you.
Oh.
Bus stop, he got off the bus. He said, all right, I'm gonna holler at you tomorrow. Just informing
Did
me.
he have
Just
the end after?
informing.
I'm gonna holler at you tomorrow.
Nah, he didn't say that. So I just remember processing that on the ride home. Like,
I know. And
I'm
had you heard the word before?
No, but I knew, I felt
You
it.
knew,
I knew
yeah.
something was
Oh
wrong.
my
That word
gosh.
is very
So then I remember by the time.
charged.
Baby, this is Kiki.
Okay, my mother's Nigerian, my dad's English. So my mother's black and my dad's white. They're very, very different people. Probably the total opposites. My mother didn't get an education in Africa. I think she left school at 5, 6, 7 years old, can't read or write. My dad is an academic who went to, smashed every exam that was ever put in front of him. So I'm somewhat caught in the middle in many respects of who I am. We moved to Plymouth in the southwest, only black family and the poorest family in the area and in my school pretty much. Huge insecurity and shame. They stopped parenting me about 10 years old, which creates this huge void of independence. And in that void, I start experimenting. I learn a lot about myself and what I'm capable of, and that's kind of a consistent theme through my life. School, I decide at some point, and I think because my two brothers, Jason and Kevin, are geniuses, that this implicit narrative that school and grades will correlate to your outcomes, I believed it. And so I knew that going to school wasn't going to be the way that I got all those things that I wanted to get.
Apologies for the appearance. I know I look rough. How do you know? This has been bothering me for like a week. How do you know? I had a lady come up to me like, hey, nice hair, da-da-da. Without missing a beat, she goes, white mom, your dad's black? How do you know? What is it? Please.
Growing up light-skinned in a black family was one of the most problematic things I kind of dealt with growing up. It was like, you can't go to school and hang out with the black girls because they looking at you with a little envy and they talking about, you think you better than us. And it's like, no, I don't. Then you try to go hang with the emo folks or the white folks. Then they looking at me like, you're too black. And it's like, well, where the hell do I fit in? And then you go out in public with your family. Then they like, is that your daughter? Is that your granddaughter? Is she adopted? No, what the hell is y'all's problem? Damn.
When a white kid grows up in a black neighborhood, nobody is calling the news. Nobody is writing a think piece about how romantic it was. You know why? Because more often than not, it wasn't. They were just welcomed, just folded in, just treated like another kid on the block. No special treatment, no suspicious glances, no quiet hostility dressed up as politeness. Just come on in. There is food on the stove and you're sleeping in the same bed as everybody else. And that says something. That says a whole lot. But flip that script. Put a black kid in an all-white school, an all-white neighborhood, an all-white everything, and suddenly the experience changes completely. Suddenly, there are words being whispered on the school bus. Suddenly, there are family members who don't quite look you in the eye. Suddenly, you're the one who has to explain yourself, defend yourself, prove yourself, just for existing in a space that was never built with you in mind. We heard the stories today. We felt them. We heard about the man who didn't even know he was black until his own brother told him. We heard about Trevor Noah, born in a country where his very existence was literally against the law. We heard about the woman braiding hair, trying not to laugh at a joke so perfectly delivered it could stop a room. And that's the true line in all of these stories, isn't it? It's not really about race at the end of the day. It's about belonging. It's about who show up for you. It's about whose kitchen smelled like home. It's about whose voice you still hear when life gets hard. Black families, and I say this based on everything we've seen and heard today, have a culture of togetherness that runs deep. Sardines in the same bed. Cheap French toast sticks from Food Lion. Mama Carnetta keeping a straight face while traumatizing small children into good behavior. That's not poverty. That's not dysfunction. That's community. That's a kind of love that doesn't need a price tag or a Pinterest board to exist. And the world is slowly starting to wake up to that. Mixed families, adopted families, blended families, black parents raising white kids, white parents raising black kids, people building bridges with their lives instead of their words. It's happening right now in real time and it is beautiful. Complicated, messy, and beautiful all at once. So here is the question the original creator left us with, and I want your honest answer in the comments. Would you rather have grown up in a black neighborhood or a white neighborhood, and why? Because your answer says more about what you value than you might think. If this video made you think, made you feel, or made you see something differently, that's what this channel is built for. Hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. New content drops regularly and trust me, we are just getting started. I'll see you in the next one.